What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. It's Tizzer. I'm back. I've been gone for like a month, but we're here. We're doing UFC 287 breakdown. I'm going to go through every fight after the early prelims. We're going to start with the main prelims. And yeah, I can't wait. Honestly, this is a great event. Nice to see Miami getting some love. And I think it's going to be really good. I think it's a good card. I'm going to be honest. It is a good card. Yeah, the UFC, obviously it's been a week off, so I know that every fan's been wanting to watch it, and we'll get right into it. So we're going to start with Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman. Carl Williams fought a while ago. I watched the fight. It was absolutely terrible. He cannot fight, but he's moderately athletic and he can wrestle a little bit. So he's going to beat every low skill heavyweight, which is a lot of them, unfortunately. So yeah, I think he has a good chance of beating Chase Sherman, to be honest. I mean, Chase Sherman in his last fight he looked really bad. He has like no stand up rate. Well, he has okay stand up, right? But yeah, I think Carl Williams is probably just going to take him down, and he's the underdog as well. I'm kind of surprised. I do think he'll get Chase Sherman down at one point. Chase Sherman has, let's just say, not the best cardio. We'll put it nicely. And this is a good underdog pick, I think. I think we're going to go for maybe we could get a rear naked choke in round two, maybe, or it's going to be a decision for Carl Williams. But I'm going with the underdog in Carl Williams here. Moving on up, Joe Pyfer versus GM3. I'm going with Joe Pyfer, but GM3 just crushes good middleweight talents that should beat him. He loses to the bad guys, well, except Chimaev. He's obviously a good fighter, but he loses to most of the bad guys and then just beats the good guys. He's an absolute hype destroyer at middleweight. But I'm going with Joe Pyfer to finally break the curse of being a derailed hype train. And I think he's going to win this fight. And the reason I say that is because the difference in this fighter compared to other ones that GM3's fought is that Joe Pyfer can wrestle. I've seen him wrestle. He's really good. I know he did kind of hurt himself in a wrestling exchange, but that's just bad luck. You know, obviously he got finished in that Dana White fight. I think he probably would have won that fight, but he landed funny and broke his arm or some shit like that. It was crazy. And yeah, I think he's got obviously massive power. He's got good hands. And yeah, I think he's going to get this one maybe done. Maybe. I know Gerald's chin's alright, but I'm thinking Joe Pyfer power might be too much for him, you know? I think it might just be that bit too much. He gets cracked. Having said that, GM3's head movement's good. So it's just a question of, is Joe Pyfer's stand-up good enough that he can land them crisp shots on? Obviously, Gerald Meerschaert is the best person he's fought in his career up to this point. I do think he can probably get it done though. But again, you know, it's probably, you know, it'll look 50-50 until a big shot lands, I think. I don't think you'll see Joe like winning every exchange. I think they'll just go back and forth, and then Pyfer's got the power and he'll clip him. And I think he's got the good enough wrestling base to basically stop Meerschaert destroying him on the ground. And also GM3's takedowns aren't that good. He usually gets like lucky kind of like mess up sprawls and stuff like that, or like he knocks down his opponent and stuff like that, as we saw in the Bruno Silva fight. So yeah, hopefully Joe Pyfer wins this fight, because obviously he's got a bit of hype, and Joe's really old and he's not going to beat any of the top guys, is he? So let's be honest. So I'm going for Joe Pyfer. We'll go, you know, let's go first round knockout. I think he might catch him. Let's go. Moving on up the card, Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Luana Pinheiro. I think this is a fight that's been given to Liana to try and basically beat Michelle and get her out of the rankings, because she's old. She's probably on a good contract. She's had a lot of UFC fights. And basically that means she's costing the UFC a lot of money, you know. And the UFC aren't going to like that. You know, they're always trying to make budget cuts. Let me just have a drink here. And yeah, I think they're kind of setting her up for failure here against this much younger. I think she's nearly 10 years younger than her. I think she's her late 20s and Michelle's like her kind of like late to mid 30s, which for a women's fighter is quite old. You know, I think they hit their physical primes quite a lot earlier than some of the men's divisions. And yeah, I think she's just going to be a bit slower. not as strong. And honestly, I think Luana wants it more. She knows that she can maybe have a crack at the belt if she keeps on winning. And Michelle, you're number 10 and you're old. You're probably not going to get a shot. Having said that, women's divisions, their rankings are a bit different in how you get a title shot. But yeah, I'm going to be going with Luana Pinheiro. She's going to probably get I think she's going to get decision. I think she's going to win maybe 2 rounds and lose 1, or maybe just win them all. So we're going to go for a UD win for Luana. And it's unfortunate, Michelle, she's a really nice girl, but I do think this is probably the end of her career. I don't think she'll retire after this, but I do think it's a downward arrow from here onwards. Moving on, we've got Chris Curtis, Kelvin Gastelum. I see a lot of people are picking Chris Curtis. I just don't know if he can win fights. I know he knocked out Joaquin Buckley, but I'm going to trust Kelvin Gastelum. He's still young. Everyone forgets it. They remember them fights against Adesanya nearly 5 years ago. And when I was watching UFC 4 years ago, I thought he was old then. And then I realised one day, I was like, oh my, he's in his late 20s. I was like, this is crazy. Having said that, he's took a lot of damage, but I think his experience is going to carry him through. And I know a lot of people say when older fighters are fighting young guys, the experience, and then they lose. But, they're old and they're out of their physical prime, Kelvin's very much in his, I believe. I think, 31 or 30, however old he is, he's around that area. That's your physical prime, more or less. But he's also got the experience, so it's a good setup for him. And not going to lie, Chris, he hasn't really beaten anyone on the people Kelvin's been fighting's level, Kelvin's, he went a big 5 rounds with Adesanya and had big moments. And Chris Curtis would not have any big moments against Adesanya. I think he'd get destroyed. So, Chris has got good power and he's got good takedown defense. But honestly, it's a 3-rounder. Kelvin can keep the standing, I think. He's got good cardio. And he's just annoying to fight. And I'm going to back him to win this fight. I'm going to say he gets a split decision. I think it's going to be a bit of controversy. And Curtis is going to have more moments in this because Kelvin's hittable. But I trust Kelvin's chin to get him through this fight, and I think he'll win. I really do. And also, he has the option to clinch and stuff. Honestly, he could probably fight at welterweight. I think he should move down, especially while he's young. You may as well do it while the cut's going to be easier. So we're going to be backing Kelvin Gastelum to win that one we'll go split decision, maybe unanimous. Moving on up the card, the main card is here. Let's go. It's a good one. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Christian Rodriguez. I'm going to go with Raul Rosas, but this ain't going to be a sweep, Unless he takes him down and destroys him, I think he's going to have to be really careful on the feet because Christian's young and hungry too, and he's got hands, and he's only lost once in his career. And if you look at the strikes, let me just bring them up here. If you look at the strikes, he lands 3.31 a minute, so it's all right, but he wins by knockout 40% of the time. So he's got hands, he has got hands. And this is undoubtedly the best fighter Rosas has come against. And I think if he beats this one, we can put him in contention to maybe go, yeah, you're a future champion. Because right now, I'm not going to say that I think Rosas is going to be a future champion because we just don't know. Because you've got to imagine him against the top of the division, Merab. Obviously, he's not going to beat Merab now, is he? But, 5 years down the line, maybe. And this fight is going to show whether he's got that dog in him, so to speak. So I'm going to be taking him to win, but this fight's going to be close. Unless Raul gets it to the ground, I think he really doesn't want to strike. Because when he was kind of getting pieced up by Jay Perrin, guys. Don't forget. And I know Jay Perrin's all right, but Jay Perrin isn't the best striker in bantamweight. And I'm going to make a guess here that Christian Rodriguez is a better striker than Jay Perrin. So, I'm going to say this isn't going to be an absolute demolition job like his previous fights. And I think I'm going to take a scrappy UD win. I think Raul Rosas isn't going to find a finisher, I think he's going to win by decision. And I hope he does win. He's young, so why wouldn't I want him to win, And he's going to bring money to the UFC, and they know it, and they've got him on the worst contract possible, so he's really easy money for them. So we'll be backing Raul Rosas in that fight. Let me just have a drink and we'll move up the card. So moving on up the card, we've got Kevin Holland versus Santiago Ponzinibbio, and honestly, I know Kevin Holland kind of got butchered in his last fight, but I'm still gonna rock with him to get this one done. I think he's gonna knock him out. Ponzinibbio, when I was watching his last fight, I had him to win by knockout, and as the fight went on, I was like, oh my god, like what is my pick? It's terrible. You know what I mean? I was just thinking this is bad. And then about 20 seconds left in the round or something like that in the third round, just knocks out Alex Moreno. I was like, oh, well. But the worry of that is, I know he won. He was getting beaten, you know. He was losing that fight unless he got that finish. And I don't think he's going to land those punches against Kevin Holland. And also, the punches Moreno was landing against Ponzinibbio, Holland would probably finish you or wobble you with them punches. You know, he's got hands. And I think his striking's much better. So, yeah, I'm going to be going with Holland to win this one by second round knockout. I think he's going to catch him pretty early on in the second round or halfway through it. But if I was Ponzinibbio, I'd probably just shoot on Holland because his takedown defense is terrible, to be honest. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go. I'm going to go with a Holland KO. I think the hands are going to be too much. He's a little bit too high level for Ponzinibbio. And I know he beat Moreno, but he kind of was losing to him until he won, which is how a lot of them MMA fights go. But I'm not backing him to win this one, and he's also quite old as well. But yeah, so moving on up the card, Rob Font, Adrian Yanez. Years gone by, I would have gone with Rob Font here, not going to lie. His boxing's crisp, he's really good. But the two things that just make me not want to pick him is his chin's gone, and Adrian Yanez is obviously chinny. He's got a good chin, and he just brawls. And also Rob Font's old now, so he's probably going to be slower than his last fight, and he's probably going to be less reluctant to engage as well, which is probably one of the best parts of his fighting style, right? So yeah, I think Adrian Yanez, he's going to want to make it scrappy, you know? If it's scrappy, it's benefiting Yanez. He's got a good chin and he can brawl, and I've seen it in fights before. He typically just gets pieced up and then wins the fight. And to be honest, that's how a lot of Rob Font fights go. He's winning. He's winning. Oh, the chin's gone and he's unconscious, you know? It's kind of that thing. And it hurts to watch, to be honest, because I can recognise how skilled he is. And it must be so frustrating that his chin's that bad, but you just can't trust him. So yeah, I think I'm going to take Adrian Yanez by... We're going to go for a third round finish, I think. I think Rob's going to, he's going to be piecing him up. Okay. Oh, I got clipped a few times, but, a few minutes later, kind of forgotten about that. On my way to a unanimous decision win. Oh, I was just having a little exchange here, and he's just going to get knocked out. I see it. He's just going to get clipped. And I think Yanez will finish him. I think when Vera didn't finish him, I think he made big mistakes. And I think Yanez has got more of that finishing ability in those positions. I think Yanez is going to get this one done, which is a shame because Rob Font's actually got a lot of skill, but his chin lets him down. Moving on up the card, Gilbert Burns, Jorge Masvidal. Honestly, I kind of had Jorge thought he might be able to just surprise clip Burns, but I've been watching the Embedded, and like the first two Embedded, he practically did no training, which is worrying. And I know they don't show everything. He just spent most of his time walking around Miami, which is, where he's from, which is fair enough. Like greeting people and stuff, and like being in a sauna. And I'm not being funny, but how is that gonna win you a fight? You're fighting number 5 soon. He's got good wins, and he can finish you. He's got boxing and he's got jiu-jitsu. Like train, bro, train takedown defense. Train boxing. But thankfully, we did see him training. After 3 UFC embedded, he finally decided to punch someone on embedded, so that was good to see. I just can't back him to win though. He's too old. Yeah, he's just too old, and his last loss is just making stock to plate. There's a method to beating Jorge, and it's kind of just holding him up against the French till he tires, and then landing shots when he can. Could Gilbert finish him? I'm not going to say he can. I think Gilbert can finish him. Jorge hasn't really had that submission threat in his last few fights. Usman, he literally has had opportunities to finish and just not taken the back and stuff like that in last fights. Kobe, he never gets finishes, does he? Pillow punches Kobe. But Burns, his jiu-jitsu's legit. Probably the best jiu-jitsu guy Masvidal's ever gone against to my memory. Could be wrong there, but yeah, I just think Jorge could knock him out in like an exchange. He's got fast hands. He can come forward quite quickly, as we've seen in the Darren Till fight. But I just kind of think like the threat of the takedown and just like Burns is chinny. Like, he got a good chin, and he's got good cardio. So I just don't think he's going to be able to take him past that. So I'm going to be back in Gilbert Burns to win this fight. And I think he's going to get it done by... I think we're going to go for a rear naked choke. I think Jorge's going to give his back up because he's going to be so used to having not had the threat of giving the back up in his last fights. So I think we're going to go for a rear naked choke maybe, or maybe a pass into an armbar or something like that. But he's a big money fighter, but I don't think he's going to win this fight. And also, he's already been talking about retirement. And if you're talking about retirement, your head's not in the game, you know. You should be going into a fight thinking, I'm only going to win, you know. So yeah, I'm going to be going for Gilbert Burns to get that one done, probably by submission, rear naked choke, or maybe transform it into an armbar from the back. Moving on up the card, the main event. I can't wait. Let's go. I'm so excited for this fight. I've been waiting for ages. Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2, but it's kind of Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 4 in other ways, you know. I'm going with Alex Pereira. I went with him last time. You can go back and check that video. Is ancient now, but I predict he'd knock him out. I said like second or third round TKO or something. I said left hook. He kind of finished him with left hook. It was in the exchange. I got the round wrong, obviously, but I don't think many people were going for a 5th round finish for Pereira. But I'm going for it again. Early Alex Pereira finish, 2nd or 3rd round here. I just think the psychological advantage of having already beaten someone 3 times and twice finishes. I just feel like, and this got his number thing. I mean, eventually, if they fought over and over, Israel would win. I know that. I don't really believe in the got his number. I just think he just suits the style of Adesanya, you know. He's basically Adesanya with a more aggressive style, but with way more power, you know. And I think that's why he needs to win this fight. He's way more better for the UFC. And I know Israel has fanboys, but his fights are so boring, guys. The only fun fight he's had that I can remember is the Gastelum fight and this Pereira fight, and maybe the Brunson fight too, but every fight with Brunson's fun just because he's just such a bad fighter. It's funny. But I'm going to be going with Alex Pereira to get this one done. I think he'll land the left hook this time, and I don't want this to be like a wobbly, controversial, I wasn't out ref, why did you let me go? I want this to be like I'm the champion, I've just finished the number 1 guy in the world, like, where's my respect? I think he is going to go for that. And honestly, I think he's going to catch Israel Adesanya and just knock him out, to be honest. I think the left hook is going to land clean this time, and hopefully it won't be up against the fence. But I'm just thinking Pereira, I mean, he's won already, but in this 6 months, it's way more beneficial for Pereira because he's still so new to UFC. He can still improve. He'll be doing ground game, practicing submissions, getting up, because obviously he made a lot of mistakes in the last fight. He probably could have got up some of the time there. Practice avoiding trips, maybe practicing takedowns too, even though I wouldn't advise him to do that. And he can be working on the clinch, because a lot of the fight was in the clinch last time, and I think there will be clinch moments in this fight. Even in the first round, there's going to be clinches, I believe. And honestly, Pereira's so much bigger, I think he can win the clinch, because he's so strong. It just gives him a huge advantage. It's literally like fighting someone a weight class above you. I mean, the guy looks like a light heavyweight. I mean, if he lifted weights, I'm sure he could be a heavyweight. And that's why I got him to win, I think he should just feint the left hook. I know he does. And I want to see him walk forward more, Because in the first fight, every time he walked forward, he had success. When he was kind of in the middle and they were playing the hands game, like nothing was really happening on Pereira's side. He was kind of just like, they were trading leg kicks, and I know he was kind of winning the leg kick kind of game. But I think if he puts his foot on the gas from the start, surprises Adesanya, just kicking him, trying to kick his legs, throwing jabs, because his jabs was landing. The jab was money, and avoiding the Izzy 1-2, because Izzy's 1-2 is the biggest threat to him, I think. I think obviously it wobbled him in the first, and it was landing consistently through the fight. And that's his biggest threat. If he learns to get rid of that and negate that, I think he can win this fight quite easily, and I'm going to be backing him to get it done by. Oh, I don't know. It's literally a coin toss in my mind between second or third round. But I feel like if he presses forward, I think he can get this done in the second round. I think, it'll just be nothing's really happened, just light punches. And then he just lands a massive hook and puts him away. Kind of like the Sean Strickland fight. I think it's going to be similar to that. But obviously, Izzy will be better because he's so much better than Sean Strickland. But I'm going to be going with Pereira to win. I really hope he does because I want to see him fight other people in the division. A lot of people are saying he's going to lose to Robert. And I'm not disagreeing with that, but I am saying that a lot of people are overlooking him in that fight. I think he's so much bigger than Robert. It kind of gives him help in the clinch and, grappling just because of the weight advantage. And also he's, without a doubt, the best striker that Whittaker will ever fight. And also Whittaker's chin's a bit glass. And when you're fighting someone with a glass chin who's got this power, I don't know if you might be a bit scared, But thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the predictions. I just didn't do the early prelims because I didn't want anyone falling asleep because there were a bunch of guys most people have never heard of. And if you enjoyed the content, leave a like. We're back. I'll be doing way more UFC now. It's going to get a bit more consistent. We've got some good months ahead of us, I'm pretty sure. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.